Hello, good world of YouTube. So, this week, had a bit of change in plans because the video was going to be on the Cadillac. And we were going to go over me doing the brakes, front and rear, getting it all done, doing master cylinder, all that. Well, some dummy didn't plan out parts soon enough. And then, while having 6 days off of work to get stuff done, waited and procrastinated till he only had about 2 days left to do anything. So this isn't getting done like I hoped because parts aren't going to show up in time for me to get it all filmed today, get it edited, and be able to post it. So in turn, we're going to complete a couple little projects on the Celica instead, get them done, have a nice little video again, and we'll have a longer video hopefully next week of me actually getting everything done on the Cadillac that I want to get done. I think for this video, we're not doing anything too crazy. We're going to go ahead and try to clean the car back up a little bit because it is dirtier than hell from sitting outside. Probably going to wash the 8.6 during this video too. We're going to repaint the front lip a little bit because it's harder to tell on camera, but the lip is way lighter in color. Like it's a chalky, like almost flat black versus the rest of the car being a gloss black. I'm not going to try to get the lip perfect before I paint it. I'm going to sand it down, try to smooth it out a little bit while it's still on the car, and just shoot it with some rattle can gloss black because that's pretty much what's on it right now. I was thinking about, I have another lip here in the garage. I was thinking about pulling this lip off entirely and putting the other lip on, but I really don't want to at the moment. This has been one of my favorite lips for a long time, and I kind of want to leave it on the car for right now. So we're leaving that as is. And as some of you have probably seen in the background of videos, I have a couple amps and subwoofers and stuff laying around. While I have the harnesses and everything to go ahead and put a sound system back in this car. So I kind of want to do that too while I'm at it. And if time allows, I have an old fender up there. It's not black. It's got the Japanese rising sun flag and stuff on it. It was on a couple of my other old Celicas. I'd kind of like to put it back on this one. So, time permitting, I'm going to try to get that done too. I don't know if that one's going to happen, but we'll see. We'll just see how quick I work. So, especially with me recording. So, that is the plan for this video, I think. Not as nearly as exciting or getting nearly as much done as I would have liked, but that's what I get for not doing anything for 4 days when I should have been. So, but hey, we all got to take some time to relax at some point, right? So, here we go. Let's get started. Just so we are all on the same page, I am nowhere near happy with that result, but it, at least from a distance, will blend in with the car better now instead of looking like, you know, a chalky mess compared to the rest of the car. So my plan is at some point over the winter to pull it off, completely strip it down, repaint it, put it back on, if I don't change lips altogether over the winter. So this was just to make it look better from 20 foot, because it didn't matter how far away from the car you were, no point that lip blend in anymore. So it's kind of one of those, it is not ideal, but it's better than it was. So it'll do for now, and we'll figure out the rest of it from there. So I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get ready to run the power wire for the amp from the battery to the back of the car. I do not want to do it the old way of running it through the door, so I got to see if there's a hole already that I can run it through, or if I need to drill one. I'm really hoping I don't need to drill one, but I don't remember if there's one or not, so that's the next thing. All right, well, so far I didn't try to record it because it was going to be too much of a pain to record. I've got it ran into the firewall. I've got enough left here to be able to put the fusible link into, and then from there be able to hook it to the battery. Right now I am currently working on getting it ran from the firewall. I think I'm going to run it under the carpet, through here, up through to the back seat, through the back of the car. I'm hoping there's enough cable to do it the way I'm trying to do it. If not, I may be under a problem, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully it's not an issue. I do have a secondary idea. If I need a couple more inches, instead of hooking it here at the battery, I can always come down here and hook it up with the starter. I really don't like that idea though, because I've already got a couple connections here that's already taking up quite a bit of room. I really don't want to be making a third. So it might also involve me putting a couple wires on new ends and making it all one. I also don't want to do that either. I just really want to hook it up to the battery. So I'm hoping it's all going to work, and I do still want a little bit of slack up there. I don't want to be pulled tight to be able to make everything work. So fingers crossed. I'm not trying to record running this part because it's just going to be a pain to record, and you're not going to get to see anything really well anyway. So I'm just going to kind of do a little bit, bring you back, do a little bit, bring you back. So, and then I'm going to vacuum the car out when I'm done, because it is a mess. The whole car needs cleaned again. Swear to God, anything sits outside here for about a day and it gets covered in leaves, gets covered in dust and sap and everything else. Nothing gets to stay clean for more than about 2 days around here. It's freaking terrible. But here's the flooring that one of my other buddies, or my other buddy that owned the car for a hot minute, put in. So I'm going to have everything setting on top of that. I'm going to have to pull this cover down so I can get to where I need to set. I need to get the wiring out for the amp and to be able to get into ground it to anything. So that's going to be the next fun bit after I get it through the car. But once I'm back in here and I'm doing stuff and I'm wiring things in, I can then at least show you a little bit. So, and then we'll go through everything that's actually here in the stereo on top of what we're putting in. Because what we're putting in is not going to be anything crazy, obviously, with the size of that power cable. I believe the amp is only about a 250 or 350 watt amp. It's nothing insane. And the kit is supposedly made for up to 1400 amps. So I'm well within the range of the cabling capabilities and everything. But yeah. So, but we are getting to a point where I got to move a couple things out of the car. And then I'm going to pull the radio out, get the other couple wires that I need to have ran for everything ran through. I am debating on going ahead and putting the amplifier on a switch too. That way if I don't want it on all the time, I don't have to have it on all the time. But I don't see me wanting it off, so I probably won't do that for now. I'll just put a loop in the cabling, so if I do want to do it later, I have the option. Wow, that was wordy. All right, time to get back to work. I kind of jumped a little ahead of where I was wanting to be. And I already pulled the radio out and got the wiring ran behind the radio, and then went, hey dummy, you could have recorded that. So that got done without me recording it. I'm sorry. So this is going to be kind of a weird, choppy video, just because this was a very impromptu thing. I wasn't planning on doing this week. I was really planning on getting the Cadillac done, and it's just not happening. And I feel like that's how my last couple videos have been. I've been doing things I wasn't planning on doing because either A, I wasn't feeling good, or other things going on. So it's just kind of like nothing's been planned out nearly as well as I normally do. So yeah, now I'm trying to play catch up. But got my little helper out here today. She's playing with her truck, and she's watching dino trucks. Because we're into dinosaurs right now, aren't we? We like dinosaurs right now, don't we? Hey, talking to you. Do we like dinosaurs right now? Do you like dinosaurs right now? Hey. 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 Do we like dinosaurs right now? Yep. I think that's all the more answer I'm getting out of her. She is trying her hardest to get that to stay on the hook and try to get the hook to go up, but the handle for the truck's broke, so it's not going anywhere. Yeah, we've been on a dinosaur kick, so we've been watching a lot of dino trucks lately. Oh, but Mom decided to go in and work some overtime today because she needs to work some extra hours to make up for the hours she's gonna miss for Halloween or trick or treat, whatever your preferred calling of it is. So now from here, we are going to pull the carpet back. We can dust ourselves out because, well, there's a ton of dust and dirt in the carpet. Get all of this ran up through here. Put the carpet back. Realize we're doing a terrible job of recording it. And this is why we weren't going to record any of this to start with. Trying to do this while looking through a camera is not fun. I need a GoPro. That's what I need. I don't need another car. I don't need any more projects. I need a GoPro. A GoPro would be so much more handier than what I'm currently using. So there you go. If any of you are thinking about doing the whole YouTube thing, invest in a GoPro. If you get good at it, it will eventually pay for itself. I am not at that point where I can say that's definitely how it'll go. But I have a feeling that eventually it's something that would pay for itself. Alright. Looks like I need to get a staple gun so I can restaple some of the floor down too. Too much cabling. Now I remember why I don't do this anymore. So, we are trying to get it where all that is down in there. And get it to the back of the car. So, now if you do it right, there is some spaces where you can actually get some of this to set down in to where you can get it through here better. Do it right, you can even get this big old fat cable through there a lot better with the usage of that. What we're going to do is we're going to get that one to here. And we're going to work on getting all three of these ones. Oh, sorry guys. Got a tangled up mess. What? She's fine. She's been playing with it for a while like that. Did she do that or did you do that?
I literally just got one.
Alright. Well, at least she finally figured out how to get it to stay, I guess. She just wraps the majority of the cord around it. She's been fighting with that for like a good hour now. Oh, come on. Go up underneath of there. Now, if I was really smart, I would have been running all of that underneath of all that other cabling that's already there. But IR not that smart, so IR didn't do that. Now, we are to here. And should be able to get all that to go back down. All that will go back down. Unfortunately, it ain't gonna stay very well because, well, there's nothing holding it currently because all the staples broke. But when we put all this back in, that will help hold it. So now from here, what we're going to do is take each one of these individually, run them up underneath of here, up to the seat and across and back. So, which is another point where I think I'm going to stop recording again until I get to the back of the car and get it done, because it is just going to be a fight trying to hold the phone, as you guys have seen me do the rest of it so far, and we'll go from there. I figured I better bring you guys back and get you up to speed. So the wiring is now ran all the way through the car, all tucked away and hidden, and everything is hooked up to the amp. So the next thing I need to do now is come up to the radio with a couple tools, and I need to start getting the wire up there prepared to actually hook into here. So, which means I need to cut part of it off, strip away 3 sections, and figure out what I did with the fusible length. Aha, there it is. Hopefully it didn't break when it hit the ground. Nope, didn't break. We're good. So, I am going to go ahead, get all that stripped and prepped off camera, and then I'll bring you guys back as I'm trying to hook it up. So, that way if anything goes up in smoke, you guys get to see it. So, grab the old tripod, and hope this goes well. power hooked up to it. And so far, I don't see any smoke, given nothing's turned on yet. But I don't see any smoke. So I think so far we're good. Now, let's do the fun part. Got that on. The amp has not turned on, but that could be because of the radio yet. So, the radio is not on. So the amp won't turn on if the radio is not on. Now the radio is on. But obviously I disconnected the battery, so we lost power to everything. And the amp is now on. So we know to this point everything is working. The next thing we need to do is connect the amp to the speaker and test to see if anything's working. So, need to grab the speaker wire and everything and get to it. All right, there we go. Now, theoretically, everything is hooked up. It does need kind of laid out in place a little bit better yet, obviously, but it is hooked up. Now, I just got to figure out how I'm going to test it on camera so you guys can maybe hear it without it being just censored and you guys can't hear anything. So, I believe this is actually going to take some combing of YouTube to find a bass test video or something. So, I will be back as soon as I figure that out. Yay, Diet Coke. Alright, it is all done. Everything is working. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not back there, but it sounds fairly decent. I actually have the bass turned down at the amp, so I can turn it up pretty well on the radio itself. So, these things have an oddly strongly mounted mirror, so getting the mirror to shake in this thing will take a lot. But I can actually turn it up to where I have more bass than I actually want, and that's with the gain turned down below half. So I'm relatively happy with that. I wish, I can turn on a different one. So if you can hear it, it's an overall fairly even, like everything else is fairly even, but there's just a lot of extra bass, which is kind of how I like a system. You can still hear all the lyrics and everything. It doesn't sound overpowered, but the bass is definitely heavy. So, yeah. So, I'm really hoping this does not get me in trouble with Facebook. We'll find out. It's now a few days later. I did not get this finished. I did not get the Cadillac finished. So, there was no video last week. So, looks like I'm finishing up a couple videos this week, getting at least one posted. And we're going to go from there. So I'm going to do the quick and easy one first this time, which means I am going to get the Celica finished, because for this video, all it needs is vacuumed out, washed off, and a fender change. So I want to get that done because it should be a fairly simple day's project, and I'll be done with it for now. That's because that's all it needed. Upside is the lip is dried. The lip now is about the same gloss level as the rest of the car, or at least to a point where it's not nearly as bad as it was before, which makes me a little happier. It's still far from perfect, but the whole car is far from perfect, so it's whatever. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and bust out the shop vac, get that done, and then I'll probably drive it down to a car wash because I don't feel like digging out all the pressure washer stuff today. I'd rather pay $5. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, and then after that, we'll probably move on to other things. Like I said, I'm going to get the fender down from upstairs. I have a fender from my old Celica. It is right there. It is the Japanese Rising Sun flag. It replaces my passenger fender. I'd like to go ahead and put that on. Gotta see if I got any double-sided tape, because I will need to get some new double-sided tape to stick it back to the fender. And I think to stick the side skirt back on. So, at least stick it back onto the fender. And I'll have to cut that fender too, because that is a coupe liftback fender, and convertible fenders are a little different. Similar right there at the corner of the side skirt, instead of going completely under and bolting down to the car, convertible fenders bolt in on the side, not at the bottom, because of the extra bracing. There's no room. So I'll have to do a little bit of work to the fender to get it to bolt on. But otherwise shouldn't be too big a deal. So, and I feel like I have another black hood in the garage. It may be in better shape than this one, so we're going to look into that also. Because while there was very few things I kept, there was a number of parts that I did keep when I cleaned out all of my Celica parts at the beginning of the year after I'd sold the wife's Celica. And I feel like a hood was one of them just because of size. So yeah. Alright, enough yapping, time to do something. whole interior is cleaned. You guys missed about half of it because, well, my camera decided partway through to just stop recording when I switched sides of the car. I don't know why. I hit record and I walked back over to a blank screen. So I'm sorry about that. I don't know why that continues to be a problem. I really need to get a GoPro. Like, I need to get something better for recording than my phone. Every time I turn around, it seems like something about it's biting me in the ass, and I just need to... if I'm going to do this, I need to start investing into it. I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, the interior's done. Interior's wiped down. I need to get back into the trunk and move some things around just because the wiring looks kind of ugly. And the amp's just kind of shoved in there. Not the amp, but the speakers just kind of shoved in there at the moment, which I might leave that where it is. It's kind of whatever. It's not there for show purposes. It's there for sound purposes. And it sounds okay, so I might just leave it alone. And it's not moving. That's the big thing, because I kind of got it wedged kind of between the amp, kind of between the back of the car. So it does what it's supposed to do, and I don't hear it sliding all over in the trunk. So it is what it is. But I'd like the wiring to look a little bit better. Just more or less just pulled back out of the way so the wiring's not going everywhere like it is right now. But that is the stereo complete in this, though, with that being hooked back up. Because, I mean, it's already got, if I remember right, it is kicker speakers in the rear and the rear 6.5s. Then in the door, it has American Legacy 8-inch subs, 4-inch mids, and the factory tweeters, along with a 12-inch sub in the back. So it's got a fairly good sound system in it now, and it always did. It's got a dual touchscreen radio in it. It's an older model, but it works well. I may eventually upgrade that to something better, but as of right now, it's as good as it needs and as good as it's going to get. Because unlike a lot of people, I'm not a fan of like the Android audio, like for cars or, you know, Apple CarPlay or anything like that. I kind of prefer my Bluetooth, and I just turn on Spotify and call it a day. That works best for me because I'm simple. So, yeah. All right, I think the next thing we're going to do is actually feed the kids, because, I mean, the wife should be getting home here soon. And when she's home, we are going to go home, or we're going to go out, have some breakfast or lunch maybe at this point, and that's going to in turn let me get some stuff done, because then she will be in charge of the kids for a little while, which means I can pull this out of the garage, go to the car wash. Maybe I'll set you guys up in the passenger side seat with the old tripod for the drive to the car wash, because this needs washed. The 8.6 needs washed. I'd like to get this thing unburied and battery charged, so hopefully I can drive it to work one day this following week if the weather permits, because this poor car has sat so much in the last 3 months that normally it wouldn't set, because I've been on night shift and I don't like driving to work on night shift because I can't put the top up. So I come out to being all over the seats in the morning. I kind of over that. And I got that one back. So a lot of the driving that would normally happen in this one has been happening in that one instead. So this poor car has just been left stranded here. And getting parts and stuff stacked around it and everything else. So, yeah. I also need to have her see about ordering a pair of struts for this as well. So, I don't know if that's happening now or later. But we'll see. I'm going to leave that one up to her. Either way, I need to get them ordered. But yeah, that is it for the minute. We will come back to that here in probably the next, I'll say about 2 hours. I want to get that done today. That is a one-day project that needs knocked out. Getting the interior wiped down, washing it off, maybe rubbing a little bit of wax on it again, and bolting on a fender. That should be a day project, cut, dry, done, move on to the Cadillac again. So we'll see. The Cadillac will be a second video. I am not making everything from the last 2 weeks one video, because my God, it'll be 3 hours long. And if you've noticed with my last couple videos, I've been trying to shorten them up a little bit, because I know a lot of it is just me rambling and not actually getting a lot done. So yeah. All right, time to go eat. Back from feeding the kids, I need to grab at least one of those out of the trunky here. I tend to always go to car washes to wash this, because I normally end up always doing it on my way to work. So I bought 2 of them, one just to kind of leave in here, and one for everything else. So we're gonna go and toss this in the car to take with us. And, well, I kind of can't record you guys without this. Or record for you guys without this, should say. And I found yet another mount we're going to try in the car. So hopefully I can get this onto the window and get it to where you guys can see while we drive. This is very similar to the one I was using, or I do use in the truck and everything. So I'm hoping between it being similar to that one, the only difference is the mount part itself. But this part of the mount is exactly the same. I'm hoping I can get it to where you guys can see where we're going and what we're doing. Because the other one, while it has the same types of adjustment, this bar moves in and out. Not just like in a half like this, but like it physically is as long as this one is extended, and the whole bar slides back. So it hits the window before I can ever get it right, and then the suction cup won't mount because of it. So we gotta figure out what we're doing, make it work better. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this mounted, and then we'll get down there and we'll get the car washed and go from there. Alright, this phone mount does seem to work. So we are golden. There we go. Now can we get out without hitting the Cadillac? That's the next question. Because someone parked Cadillac just a wee bit crooked. Garage door just shut. Oh. And we're having a hard time not hitting the Cadillac that way. So, pull back forward. Shut the garage door. Shut the garage door. Shut the garage door. There we go. That's a new battery in that too. That's awesome. It's working that well already. Don't hit the Cadillac. Don't hit the Cadillac. I'm not trying to not hit the Cadillac because I'm afraid to hurt the Cadillac. I'm afraid of hurting the celica with the Cadillac. Alright. Here we go. Down to the car wash we go. This new phone mount seems like it's going to work fairly well, albeit maybe a little shaky. Which I think that is going to just be a problem being in here in general. Because this is not the smoothest riding of car. It is not the Cadillac. This is definitely the car where you feel the bumps in the road. Although my mount that I have in the truck may be a little bit more stable than this one. So, but for those of you that are maybe new This is my 95 Celica GT that I built a few years ago that I just recently picked back up off of a buddy. As you've seen, it's a convertible, full leather interior. It's got the premium sound system and everything in it. It's also got a V6 swap done to it. D2 racing coilovers. 2 1/4 white pipe into a 2.5-inch exhaust, which is negligible. Maybe it's a little too small of an exhaust. Maybe it's just right. Maybe the white pipe's a bit too big. It could go either way. I love the way it sounds though. It's got just a little bit of raspiness to it. V6 sounds good. It drives really well. Plenty of extra power. So it's not bad. Setting right around 200 horse and I think like 220 foot-pound of torque, give or take a little bit. It's never been on a dyno. That is just rough ideas from what I've seen other ones dyno at. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. Significant upgrade from stock either way, and just a whole lot of fun to drive. It's very mellow when you don't want to beat on it, and plenty of power when you do. We'll get it washed and maybe do a little pull on the way home. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a very comfortable car. And I enjoy driving it a lot. A little louder than a stock car, obviously, but that's part of the reason why I like it. But it's not so loud that you can't turn the radio on and enjoy the radio too with the top down. You know? So it's a good in between. It's never really been a race car per se. Like I never really street raced it or anything like that the entire time I've had it built. It is an aggressive cruiser. Cruiser with, you know, race car-ish tendencies, maybe. Probably the best way to put it. Safari van sounded great, let me tell you. Oh, Tahoe with the bass. Stuff carried over into this car is from when I was legitimately trying to build me something to race, being the V6 swap and the D2 coilovers, the exhaust. When we did the exhaust on this car, we actually tried to grind it down a little bit. It's got a dual core, full aluminum radiator with some relatively big fans in it to help with cooling, which my wife's buddy that she works with at the auto parts store loves giving me crap because every time he pulls in, he's like, "Are the tornado sirens going off?" Because the fans on this thing, you can probably, if I shut up long enough, you can hear them. The fans on this thing aren't exactly quiet, and they in fact do sound like mini tornado sirens going off. So, but it realistically though, if you don't beat on it and you drive it with a brain, it still feels like you're driving a stock car, with the exception of the clutch being a bit heavy. And the best way to describe the performance difference between how it was and how it is now, second gear in it now acts like it used to act with first gear with the stock engine. Because the stock engine was a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder, and this is a 3-liter V6. I've always kind of wanted to turbo it or something along those lines, but with it being a convertible now instead of a hardtop coupe like it was before, I don't feel like it needs that extra oomph. So this person in the Accord wasn't very smart. Now they're stuck kind of out in the middle of no man's land because they couldn't be bothered to turn when they needed to. So now we're all kind of stuck. But we're just trying to go around the corner from here to the car wash. So yeah. But here I tried to bring you guys along for a little bit. Take you for a little bit of a drive in the car. Yeah, but other than the engine swap and the coilovers, suspension-wise, the rest of the car is still stock. Just because it doesn't. At one point in time, for my other Celica that I had a lot of this in, I also had white line sway bars and stuff like that. But this car really didn't need them for the intentions of how I planned on driving it. There's the car wash we're going to. I want to go down past this entrance because, well, apparently I'm a dumbass and didn't realize that there's only one entrance. But it looks like maybe we can sneak around the backside. That's what we're going to try doing. We're going to see if we can sneak around the backside here. There's a guys coming out of the parking lot the other way. Made it a little hard to get in otherwise. So, see here. Is there a bay we can pull into? It doesn't look like it. It looks like we gotta wait. Pulling behind the old guy at the Miata. He knows what's going on. Even if we gotta wait a minute or two, it's worth it. Alright, while we're waiting for him, we'll go ahead and we'll get the top and stuff put up. Best parts of this thing is the power everything. Glad we didn't pull him behind the Dodge, considering he decided to reverse out for no reason. Yeah, get the side windows put up. You guys aren't gonna be able to see none of that happening. Alright, well, I guess instead of sitting here behind the Miata, we will back up and go and... Oh, okay, now I see why you didn't. Oh, I'd rather have the bay with the light. So I guess we're gonna wait. Yeah. There we go. Alright, I'll bring you guys back when the guy in the Miata is done. Alright, now that we got that done, and some weird dude just come walking through our stall, I think we're done. I don't see me coming back to this car wash again. That was not very satisfying. Well, yeah, I did get the car clean for what we were wanting done. There's not really any soap that came out. And let's get the top back down. Yeah, barely got any soap. Cost me like $4. This isn't one I normally come to. I just knew it was close to the house and I feel like going out for it. So, I guess lesson learned. I went through the automatic car wash before with it, and the MG for a laugh. And the automatic car wash didn't seem bad. So, I figured the regular car wash would be pretty good too. I was wrong. So, there we go. Tires are a little wet. Second gear pull. That was second gear to the speed limit. We will call it the speed limit. As you can see there, it is nothing ungodly fast, but it is no slouch either. It's a fun driver. So I love the way it sounds. You can see what I mean though. When you're driving relatively mellow, the car sounds relatively mellow. You get on the throttle, and she wakes up, starts making some noise. So, the Corolla, if I ever get it together, finish that dang thing, should sound and drive about like this car does. But everything's just a bit more aggressive with it. So, yeah. Oh boy, we have a Mustang behind us. So, yeah. Like I said, it's a fun driver. It's what I've kind of always built it to be. Never tried to really make it out to be much more than that. When I was in my car show days, we used to do some silly things on the highway with it, but that was about it. And that was actually previous to this car. That was my old Celica prior to this. My blue coupe, which is where the username kind of came from. There was a lot of shenanigans that happened in that car that probably shouldn't talk about. But this one's been, it's the same car, just with the same power, just everything else has been mellowed down a lot about it. Because that car didn't have power steering or anything. Whereas realistically, the only thing this thing's missing over a factory car is I need 2 AC lines to hook up to get everything routed properly, and the system charged. That's all this car is missing. Everything else that was in this car factory is still here. It all still works. And realistically, if I could get it to work on the factory tap, would also be nice. But necessarily a requirement, because I do have a little tack off to the side. I can see what my RPMs look like and everything. It is just as accurate as what a factory tack would be. So, and we're back. Oh, now to get it into the garage. Open sesame. Open sesame. Come on. Come on. Why are you not opening? I says open. You open any other time. There we go. Being finicky today. It needs to get over itself a little bit. Alright. Oh, in we go. Woo. And we're in. Alright. Here we are. We got the fender off. Now I got the new old fender and the old fender laying over here together. As you can see here in the front, they are exactly the same fender. And until you get back here to this bottom corner, this is where they're different. For the convertible, there is some extra bracing put down here that the coupes and the liftbacks don't have. So basically, you've got to cut a section of that out and make it work right from there. So what I'm going to have to do is attempt to make a template of this, lay it over top of that, and hope I can make it. Excuse me. So we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to attempt to draw it based off of that corner, and then just the basic shape of that hook down there, and get like from here to here, right? And then I won't have to worry about that because I'll have that drawn and I can just cut everything below it. So that's the hope. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. Well, some progress has been made, as you guys got to see. You guys missed me cutting up that corner down there and everything because, well, frankly, as I was getting ready to do it, my phone died. So I had to let my phone charge because some dummy was watching TikTok all morning beforehand, and by the time his wife got back and they got food and he watched more TikTok before coming back out to work on the car, well, his phone was about dead. And he was trying to get everything recorded with 15%, like that was going to happen. So yeah, that was a thing. But here's where we're at. As you guys seen, I got everything here at the fender done. Everything's back on correctly here. I got it bolted in across the top, bolted in down at that bottom corner where there was no hole before, but there is one now. I still need to bolt it on. Inside the door. I tested the door. Everything opens and shut fine. So, while my gap might not be 100% matchy top to bottom, it's good enough for me. I'm happy with it. I'm just concerned how that's going to look once the hood's shut. But I can adjust that after the fact. The big thing I'm running into now is on the old fender, all of the clip areas along the bottom. Let me get it flipped. Oops. Right along there. Namely, that one, that one, that one are all but completely flattened out on this other fender because I needed them for clearance because the car this fender was on before had 18s on it and was much lower than this is, which I know this car is already low. It was a lot lower than this. You could not see. Matter of fact, it was these 18s. you couldn't see the top of the chrome lip here. You couldn't see right here on the other car. So that gives you a rough idea of how much significantly lower it was than this one. You know, maybe. Yeah, about how this is, well, closer to that was how the whole car looked all the way around. Versus this, you can still see the top of the tire. So, and this may drop back down to that level at some point. It's just not right now. Oh my God, I just had it aligned. I really don't feel like spending another $90 on an alignment. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to loop some zip tie through some holes and zip tie everything in place to hopefully work with this fender and keep everything off of the tire. As I remember right, I didn't run a fender liner with this particular fender before because of this and clearance issues, and kind of not willing to give that up this time. So I'm going to make it work one way or another. It might not be perfect, but it'll be better. So, and I need to pull out one of these for the other fender as well, because the top one is missing on this one. And I'm going to try to put all three back in this time instead of being lazy about it. I'll have them two. I think I'm going to have to pull this whole side skirt off and retape the whole side skirt, which is not what I wanted to do, but it's what I'm going to do. So I'm still debating it. I may just try redoing the corner and part of the straight section there and call it a day. We'll see what happens. If I pull it off to do that, I think need to re-glue the seal onto it, which is going to be another pain all in of itself. And I think, yeah, right back here that seal's even missing. So maybe I'll just pull it off and get rid of the seal altogether, because it's not really sealing anything. It's there visually to make it look nicer. So, yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just go ahead and pull off this whole side skirt, retape the whole thing. You know, I don't know if I got enough tape to do it. I'll probably need to go buy another roll of tape. And re-put this whole side skirt on the car again, which is not a bad thing to do. It doesn't hurt. It was just more work than I had initially planned. So there is enough there on that one that I may pull this splitter off in the coming weeks and redo that splitter. That would make me feel a little bit better about some things too. So, but for now, I'm going to get this finished, get that side skirt figured out, and go from there. So, back onto the stand you go. Boys and girls, here she is. I think this is the conclusion of where this car is going to sit for the rest of the year, as far as looks goes. If I can get my hands on some vinyl wrap, we're going to do some, we're going to wrap the hood and probably the center of the spoiler in carbon fiber. But this is going to be the basic ending of where this car is going to be. I decided not to do any more with the side skirt because it's holding onto the car exactly where it was before. The bolts that are holding it in are doing the job, not the double-sided tape. So I'm going to leave it as it is. She's cleaned up, looking halfway decent. Paint's nowhere near perfect. Car's nowhere near perfect. She's not perfect, but she's perfectly good. We'll leave it at that. I'm happy with it. I gotta go in and get the center for the badge. Get that put back in because it fell off and we clear coated it to get it to look right again. But yeah, this is it, guys. This is the forever car. This will probably outlive everything in the driveway but the Nova. I'll be honest with you, I really was afraid I was going to get it back, and then within a week or two of driving it, I was going to go, wow, I can't believe I spent all this money getting this car back. Why did I do this? And I'm not having that at all. I am absolutely in love with this car all over again. I'm so glad I spent the money and took the time and got it back. I'm glad he didn't let it go to someone else. because man, oh man, does she look good. And to make this make a little bit of sense, so previous to this car, and if I can dig a picture up, I will, and I'll add it in. Try to add it in right here. As you seen there, if that worked. This was on my blue Celica previous to this car, which is the car I stripped down to make this car. I didn't put the fender on then because I had to modify the fender, and I was not okay with it because I wasn't for sure if this was going to be the last one I built. I wasn't for sure if this is the car I wanted to build. Now I am. I don't feel bad at all about modifying this fender now. And I mean, realistically, at this point, if I do build another one, it's going to have side skirts on it. Anything I modify, it's covered up by side skirts, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. But this was the last part laying around from that car that I'd been hesitant for a long time on putting on this one. And I was finally at a point that it needed done. So here we are. It's complete. This is my car. Everything about this was stuff I chose, stuff I wanted on it. The only thing that's going to change now is that front license plate's coming off, because, well, it did a thing while I was doing everything. Dang thing. And it's not mine. It's Nino's. He wants it back. I don't blame him. It's neat. I don't want it, though. It's all him. I just been too lazy to take it off the car since he hasn't been around. So he lives all the way up in Cleveland. So I'll get it off and get it to him over the winter. But yeah. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the little bit of work I've done in the last week. Last couple videos of this car. I hope you guys enjoy seeing it, because you guys are going to see a lot more of it. I think over the winter we're going to pull the interior out of it, do some work on the inside. We'll probably rerun some of the wiring for the sound system then as well. And maybe add another amp specifically for the subwoofers and the doors, things of that nature. And do a lot more then. But for right now, for the rest of the fall, I just want to drive and enjoy it. And this is the end look. I know I keep rambling every time we talk about this car, guys, but this thing was a big part of me that I got back, and I'm really happy to have it back. So, but on that note, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, remember, it's not about the destination. It's not about the destination. It's about the adventure. Get out, have some fun, go enjoy one of your old cars. I think that's what I'm gonna do. See you guys next week.